This conference will now be recorded.
Yes.
March 12th, 7:03, we are calling the meeting to order. We'll start with our flag salute and our moment of silence.
The United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
All right, Karen, can you give us a sunshine statement and roll call, please?
Sure. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting has been given by filing written notice with the township governing body and the township clerk, mailing written notice to the township's official newspapers and the township website, posting written notice on the official bulletin board in the Chesterfield Township Municipal Building, and providing notice to all who have requested same. Ms. Botcher?
Here.
Ms. Codestale?
Here.
Mr. Leka?
Here.
Mr. Pamphili? Ms. Hughes?
Here. Are there any agenda matters requiring recusal?
First ordinance, second ordinance, third ordinance, fourth ordinance. You guys should just go outside. You guys call me back. If you want me.
Oh, wait.
Stay home.
I don't have the right. Make sure you have the right one. You have one with number 8 on there, right? Okay.
Nothing for me, man.
So, all the ordinances?
This morning, is there a change?
Yep. Nope, you should be good. I had an old one in my packet. So as long as that one has 2608 on the bottom for ordinances,
Is that the only difference?
you don't have the
I
26.
was working off a different agenda.
Okay, the only difference is the 08.
I do. Jeremy, is there anything else?
Yeah, resolution 2026-02-14, 2026-03-08.
And resolutions.
2026-03-01. No.
So which one are we doing? So 01. And 08. Okay.
Are there any other matters requiring recusal? Moving on to approval of minutes for the February 26th work session and regular session. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to our Eagle Scout project, we have Jordan here who is going to give us a quick presentation. Thank you, Jordan. And while he's coming up, I'm going to give what I'm going to note as Steve's reminder for all of us, including myself up here, to keep our microphones close to us so that everyone can hear us.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
I got it.
So I handed you guys a packet. You guys got that? I didn't know there was going to be 7 of you.
I made additional copies. You're good.
Okay, thank you. And if you look through it, basically, I got a few designs here.
Okay.
You look towards like the last 2 pages. We got small 18 by 24 designs and the 24 by 30 design, the one that's out there right now. I'm basically here to ask which design would you guys like?
So cool. I mean, thank you for putting this together. It's awesome to look at. When do you need an answer by of which we would choose?
Right?
You need an answer tonight.
Tonight would work.
Let me ask you a question.
Maybe.
Signs go.
Want to put? Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think these are awesome. They look good, but I do, and I don't want to be too nitpicky. I put a lot of work and time into this, but I do think it would be nice to have.
Okay.
And yeah, and it's something we could share with you.
Okay. Well,
Did that add a lot to the cost?
probably.
How are you doing with your fundraising? Have you started your fundraising yet?
I can't start fundraising until I get approval from you and
That makes sense.
the BSA.
I agree with the logo. If you have trouble fundraising, you can reach out to me directly. I will put you in touch with some people that can help contribute.
Thank you.
One
Yeah.
of them's in the back.
Well, I will be willing to do the Chesterfield logo, but I will say that probably will cost more because it will be a custom design.
The difference
We do
is
have some fundraisers willing to help.
That's,
we'll help you bridge. But I don't care about this. I would like the logo personally. I don't care if it's on the, what I will say,
I think it should be on the 20 by 30.
yep, do you agree this, the shape of the sign should be different as long as the logo's on? Yeah, yeah. That's
That's
a-
a.
Yep.
24 by 30. be the sign.
I'm good with that.
And Karen can get you in touch with us or George.
And you have my contact, so
I do.
Okay, thank you.
you can get it from Karen.
Nope, I haven't.
Jordan, are there any other questions or anything else you'd like to tell us at this point?
Nope, really just if you guys will approve me doing this, so I can then take it to the BSA.
So do you want him to come back with another sign then, or can we just trust him to go ahead with how much time do you have before you turn 18?
I have until August 3rd.
Okay.
So I don't think you need to come back, but if you could send us a copy of what it'll look like and we can all kind of just approve.
Oh,
it.
yeah, but I'm just saying you want to look at it and
Yeah, I
have a
think
vote
we'd wanna
on
see
another
it.
date. Okay, that's really what I meant.
Just
Yeah.
We'll
No, I
figure it
didn't.
out
I
pretty
just meant,
quickly.
And
yeah, she's got to get it done.
any issue on the county roads?
Signs there.
Jack, you were just
I didn't
saying
know,
you
as long
have
as
to
it's
go
in
to the
place.
county, right?
Yeah.
That's fine.
There is one little thing on the for a road that might need that we want to add a sign to is Chesterfield Arnytown. That's a road we would like to add a sign on, but it is a county road.
Which
I'm-
page is this,
That
Jordan?
is the second page.
And I'm personally, okay, I was just asking the architect, is that something, there's a sign there we can replace, right? Or
Yeah, I would just replace it.
There's not one there.
There's not one there.
No, we would have to add a new pole and sign.
would you reach out and just make sure it's not an issue?
You have a location
Yeah.
here on Chester?
I don't want to put it on you.
Chesterfield, Arlington, on the border of Patton. Oh, all right.
And I would like
Let's
one
get
there. as
Together,
well.
I'll just send it over to.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. And the other thing is post with signs. Are you doing the wood posts that are there now? Or are you doing metal? I'm just curious.
Metal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to give them like a sort of like initial approval, you just do it by motion, basically if that's the sign, the size sign you want with the Chesterfield Township logo, subject to, but you could just say the mayor's final approval. Logo. So it doesn't have to come. Oh, yeah,
Like-
and like you can just give the response back.
I'll second it. Aye.
Jordan, thank you. This is awesome and congratulations. It's a huge milestone you've accomplished.
Thank you. Alrighty.
George, do you have Jordan's email? So
I have it, Karen.
you have his email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll email you the
I'll send it
logo
to you
information.
tomorrow.
Okay?
All right, moving into public comment. Anybody who wishes to speak has 3 minutes. Please start with your name and address. Can I get a motion and second to open public comment?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody wish to speak? Seeing none in the room, would anybody like to speak online?
Not seeing anything.
Can I get a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are moving into the 4 ordinances. Our planner, Leah, is here. Procedurally, can we have Leah give a overall presentation on what these are and, okay. All right, Leah, can I ask you to do that, please? And then we will touch on each ordinance individually.
Good evening, everyone. Leah Fury-Bruder, Township Planner. Okay, so you have 4 ordinances and also some resolutions on your agenda tonight that are related to implementation of the Housing Element and Fair Share Plan. Just by way of a quick we also have a endorsement of the Housing Element and Fair Share Plan on the agenda. So by way of a quick background in terms of how we got to where we are with all of this. In June, at the end of June, there was a statutory deadline to have the housing element and fair share plan completed, adopted, endorsed, and filed with the Affordable Housing Program for the fourth round. Chesterfield's plan, we met the statutory deadline, but in that plan, there were some options and uncertainties because we had a lot of work to do relative to the TDR program and trying to maintain the integrity of the longstanding TDR program while also increasing the affordable housing yield in the township. So since then, the Affordable Housing Subcommittee and your professionals and all of you have been involved as well. We have been hard at work trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. The housing element and fair share plan has been updated and is now more specific as to how the township is going to satisfy its third round and fourth round affordable housing obligations. The planning board held a public hearing on that. The housing element and fair share plan, I should say, is an element of the master plan. So that is under the jurisdiction of the planning board. The planning board held a public hearing on February 17th and adopted that updated housing element and fair share plan. Because this is township-wide policy, it does need to be endorsed by the governing body. And then implementation, of course, putting legislation into place to implement it is Township Committee's responsibility. So these ordinances are various pieces of this overall puzzle. And all of this, there are some time constraints. There's a statutory deadline to have all of this implementation in place by March 15th. So we're getting it all done. In fact, we thought, just, to Chesterfield's credit, I think we did think that it was going to be really hard to meet these deadlines and that we might have to ask for extensions, but that did not happen. We were able to get it all pulled together. So I congratulate everyone on that. It's been a lot of great collaboration. So we have Ordinance 2602. I'll just mention what each of them are, and then I can kind of do overview. The first one is your bond ordinance to purchase 87 Bordentown Chesterfield Road. That is approximately the 6-acre property that's in the fair share plan, slated for 100% affordable housing development. By the township making the contribution, buying the land, it will enable the township to get bonus credits for the units that are constructed there. Additionally, it's essentially impossible in my experience to have a 100% affordable development without municipal contribution. So this is the town's effort to ensure that that can happen. It's anticipated that there will be about 60 to 66 affordable housing units on the site. We want to make sure it's used efficiently. And it's going to satisfy part of the third round and part of the fourth round affordable housing obligation, if and when it comes to fruition. It's in the sewer service area. It's in the receiving area, but affordable units do not require any credits. That's always been the case. So there's no credits required for this development. So the bond is to buy the land. And then I just want to skip forward to
Add in just a couple thoughts before you jump to the next ordinance.
Oh, yeah, and I was just so you know where I was going. I was going to go to 2605 because that is the zoning ordinance for this piece of property.
Okay, you do that and then I'll add my.
Yeah, okay. So the 2026-05 is a new zoning district, PVD4, and it's specifically for that site. And it will enable this multifamily 100% affordable rental development on that site.
I just want to be clear when we're talking about the township buying this property, that this isn't us sitting up here saying, we really want to do this. Let's find property. Let's buy it. Let's develop. That's not the scenario. This is a mandate that was given to us by the state saying that you have to build these units. You have no choice around it. So we are trying to do it in the best way that we can, where the financial burden is the least on our residents, where any burden is the least on our residents. And I just want to make that note that if we weren't doing this 100% affordable complex, then we would have to build, hundreds and hundreds of other units to be able to meet that need, that there's no other option here,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, that is just to piggyback on that. Let's assume there's 60 affordable housing units built here, and they're all needed to meet the town's obligations. Without doing a 100% affordable housing development, which is, not sustainable in the market. It requires special financing. It requires contributions from public entities because it's below market rate, so it's subsidized. So in order to get that number of affordable housing units, as part of an inclusionary development, at a minimum, you would have to have 300 units to get the 60 because it's a 20% affordable housing set aside. And that's assuming you were doing a 20% affordable housing set aside, when in fact in the TDR receiving area, because of credit requirements, we have to accept less. So you're talking 300 units or more in order to get that 60. So this is like an efficient way to get to the goal.
I want to add one thing that to couple with the mayor. This is the only parcel that I know of in the sewer receiving area that could accommodate this as well. And at least to me, that is important, that we're not expanding outside of the receiving area.
Yeah.
Last point that I just want to make too is, yes, we are bonding for this, but as we get to further down the agenda, there's also things in the works that will hopefully be able to pay the town back for most, if not all of this amount. The intent is for that to happen, and we're working our hardest to make it happen.
Absolutely. All these pieces are all interconnected. We've worked really hard to make sure, it's all interconnected. And yeah, so what the mayor just indicated, I'll circle back to that in a little bit with related to the spending plan. So those are those two ordinances. Then 2026-03 is a repeal and replace ordinance. So this ordinance is really long. If you have it in paper, it's like 50 pages. It is the affordable housing ordinance and the development fee ordinance. And those are basically required. We have these ordinances already in place, but they're updated. So I guess I would start by saying a lot of times when people talk about affordable housing, there's a lot of mystery around it. They don't know exactly what it means, how it operates. But if you read this ordinance, I'm not saying anyone really wants to read all 50 pages, but it does remove the mystery. We have definitions of all the terminology that's used in affordable housing. It ensures uniform standards to ensure that all the units that are meant to be affordable remain affordable, consistent with the Fair Housing Act and the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls. It ensures that new construction units are built on a schedule consistent with what's required. It outlines the number of bedrooms consistent with the state requirements, like a certain number of 1-bedroom units, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. It provides standards for different affordable housing programs that sometimes come into play, like accessory dwelling units, extending controls on units that are going to expire, supportive housing for special needs. It talks about establishment of rents and sales prices, occupancy standards. So the whole gamut of how to operate and maintain and monitor affordable housing is in this ordinance. And then it also speaks to development fees. Chesterfield historically has not collected a lot of development fees. The development fee ordinance allows basically developers to make a contribution to this affordable housing trust fund, and that money has to be used in support of affordable housing. The town can't use it for anything else. And the reason Chesterfield hasn't historically had a lot of collections or revenues is because almost all the development in the town has been in the receiving area, which is inclusionary. So when you're building affordable housing, you do not pay into this fund. When you're not building affordable housing, you pay into the fund. So if there's a single family home built on a farm, for example, in the sending area, and that house is valued for round numbers at $500,000, it pays 1.5% equalized assessed value. So the assessor estimates, okay, this is going to be a $500,000 house, and 1.5% of that number is paid into the fund. So that is how Chesterfield has gotten some collections. And then we have essentially, in order to ensure, well, that's development fees. I'll get back to the spending plan in a minute. I don't want to get off track. But development fees are 1.5% of equalized assessed value for residential development that is not inclusionary, and 2.5% of non-residential development. So if Old York Country Club eventually is actually developed as anticipated, that will generate a substantial income to the trust fund. And that'll help the town to pay for its affordable housing. So that's ordinance 26-03. And then the last one is 2026-04. This ordinance makes some modifications to the receiving area to ensure that we could increase the affordable housing set aside without undermining the integrity of the TDR program, meaning that, when a developer is developing in the receiving area, they've got to buy the land that they're developing, and they also need to buy credits from sending area landowners to basically transfer the development potential from the farm to the receiving area. And therefore, that farm is preserved in perpetuity. So that cost burden makes it difficult to pay for affordable housing. So what we've done is as you know, you authorized Auto Group to do a study. They're well-known real estate economists, and they did some analysis to determine what amount of affordable housing could be accommodated in the receiving area while still maintaining the credits. So what this ordinance does is modify the credit requirements and increase the affordable housing set aside. For remaining land in the receiving area, there's really only two pieces of property. One substantial, about 60 acres, and another one that's like 5 or something like that. So this is only really going to be impactful. And the ordinance is written to continue to acknowledge what it was before, because that's important moving forward, that we make sure that whatever has happened previously is kind of documented for posterity, and then what it is from this date forward. So that's what you've got in that ordinance. I guess I'll stop there and answer any questions.
Only question I have is when this comes to fruition, an RFQ or an RFP, I guess we'll look for qualifications. We'll go out to the market to find a developer suitable that specializes in affordable housing.
Oh, for the PVD4?
Yes.
Yes, the town can choose an affordable housing developer that is qualified and experienced. Yes. Yeah. And you'll enter an agreement with them. Yeah. You're welcome.
And you said that you already know, you are pretty familiar with who we would want to be looking out to do that.
Yes, I mean, there are several out there in the market, and there are some that in my experience are just the best. So we're going to talk to them and, see, make sure that we find a good fit.
I want the whole committee to be part of that.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if you and I would agree.
Mhm.
But I want that to be a committee decision.
Yeah, just for the sake of, for the folks, who are online and here, for them to know, if you could tell us the third and fourth round obligation, the numbers, just so.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry about that. The third round obligation is 95 units, and the fourth round is 45.
Just to clarify, a big portion of that third round is already developed. And with the credits, it gets us down with like that, not using the correct terminology, the credits that we get though, the third and fourth round that we need to develop still will be met almost exclusively by that 66 unit development.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It's 90, not 95. So 90 for the third round, 45 for the fourth round. And yes, the receiving area, like the development that has proceeded and the town has been implementing over a 25-year period, has already produced some of the affordable housing units. They already exist for the third round. And then we just have to complete that with the 87 Bordentown Chesterfield Road. And then the fourth round will be completed with 87 Bordentown Chesterfield Road and the remaining development in the receiving area. Yes.
I just want to note one other thing. I've said it before, but I do want it on the record as we vote on all of these things. I was a member of the subcommittee. Denise and I both were. We sat through many, many hours working with the subcommittee, working with the state, working with the challengers to our plan at various different points. I think the state really did a disservice to towns putting this on them. I just think that the way that they did it, they passed the law and then gave these extremely abbreviated timelines for townships to have to comply. It's called affordable housing, but it's costing taxpayers a lot of money because we're responsible for buying the land and for helping the builders to be able to develop these units. And of course, affordable housing is important. We all want people to be able to afford to live, but the way that the state did this and the burden that it put on our township, on every township, I want it noted that it's been very difficult to meet the deadlines, to be able to do this and to be able to do it in a way that really is the least burdensome on our residents.
Yeah, and I just to piggyback on what she's saying, Rebecca and I sat with Dominic and in the mediation with Fair Share Housing and, well, originally the builders also, And the judge was not like going to give us any more time. So, I mean, he was definitely, I don't know how many times he was like, okay, well, next week we'll have another meeting. Next week we'll have another meeting. So I've seen a couple of people say on social media, like, well, I thought there was some talk about getting land from the state. Well, that would never have flown at all. If we had said to Judge Bookbinder, well, we're waiting to hear from the state, he would have laughed at us. So I think that to the credit of the staff, as soon as this property came up, they immediately said to us, we should look at this. And I think we have been saved. Like Leah said, originally we thought we'd have to extend this. We do not. We have gotten numbers down from what would have been a very large number through that mediation to I think we're in pretty good shape. As Rebecca said, the state put everybody in a difficult position, but I think we could be in a lot worse shape. And I think the residents need to know that. I mean, this is not ideal for anybody, but it's ideal for what the ramifications of what we could be dealing with are.
And we did our best. We did our best to explain how unique Chesterfield is with our TDR program, with so much of our land preserved, what makes Chesterfield so special. And it stuck with me, so I'm just going to say it again. But at one point, the judge said to us, he's like, every town comes to us in these challenges and says, we're unique, and this is why. And he goes, but Chesterfield is the actual unique case. And it's true. So.
And then that's it on the ordinances of what I wanted to share. But if we could, maybe when the spending plan resolution comes up, I can
Bring you back up.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, Leah, because you also did a lot of work
Yeah,
on this,
thank
and
you
it's much
immensely.
appreciated.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so we are going to move into here each ordinance for public hearing and adoption. So ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance of the Township of Chesterfield in the County of Burlington, New Jersey, providing for the acquisition of 87 Bordentown Chesterfield Road in and for the township, appropriating $1.1 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,045,000 in general improvement bonds or notes of the township to finance the same. Can I get a motion and a second to open for public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody from the public like to speak on ordinance 2026-02? Anybody online? Can I get a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is it an adoption?
Yes.
Can I get a motion to adopt ordinance 2026-02?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance of the Township of Chesterfield amending Chapter 130, the Land Development Code of the Township of Chesterfield to repeal the existing Article 10 COA requirements and replace it with Article 10 affordable housing requirements, and to repeal and replace Article 15, Section 130-122, affordable housing development fees, to include updated standards and requirements as set forth herein. Can I get a motion and a second to open for public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody from the public like to comment on ordinance 2026-03? Anybody online? Can I get a motion and a second to close public comment?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2026-03?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance 2026-04, an ordinance of the Township of Chesterfield amending Chapter 130, the Land Development Code of the Township of Chesterfield to modify the TDR credit and receiving area requirements consistent with the Township's fourth round housing element and fair share plan. Can I get a motion and a second to open for public comment?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody like to speak on ordinance 2026-04? Anybody online? Can I get a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
Can I get a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2020? Oh, all in favor? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2026-04?
So moved.
Need a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, ordinance 2026-05, an ordinance of the Township of Chesterfield amending Chapter 130, the Land Development Code of the Township of Chesterfield, Article 9, Planned Village Development PVD District, to create a new PVD 4 zoning district within the TDR receiving area consistent with the Township's fourth round housing element and fair share plan. Can I get a motion and a second to open for public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody who would like to speak on ordinance 2026-05? Anybody online? Can I get a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2026-05?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Are we bringing Jeremy back?
Unless you want to do the two that he has to recuse himself from.
Resolutions, so we can keep them in here. Can we go down to there and do the resolutions?
Yeah, we're skipping just introduction. We can come back to.
Okay, we'll come back to
We'll do
introductions.
Number 14
I think he said 1 and 2.
and 8.
Oh.
And 1. Okay. Right.
Okay,
So 14, 1 and
Resolution
8.
2026-02-14, resolution endorsing the amended fourth round housing element and fair share plan. Leah, is there anything you want to say about this, or you think it's pretty much all tied up?
Outlined in that document.
Does anybody on the committee have any comments they'd like to share?
No.
Okay, resolution 2026, did I read it already? Resolution endorsing the amended fourth round housing element and fair share plan. Can I get a motion and a second to adopt the resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2026-03-01, resolution adopting a spending plan for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. This one we need some more info on.
Yeah, if you don't mind, just
Please.
I think it's worthwhile just to touch on this. So as I had indicated a few minutes ago, the township hasn't collected a whole lot of money into the trust fund to date. Right now, there's $68,000 in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. But what this spending plan, the regulations require that if we're going to have a development fee ordinance and an affordable housing trust fund, that we have a spending plan put in place and approved by resolution. This can be changed at any time. So just keep that in mind as we move through the fourth round. If the revenues are not what are expected, if they're more, if they're less, like we can change it. But we have to sort of have a plan set forth of how this money will be spent consistent with the fair share plan. So it outlines how development fees are collected. And I want to add, which I didn't mention previously, there are the development fees that I already explained, the 1.5% for residential, 2.5% for non-residential. There's also a payment in lieu, which is essentially similar in that it's money coming in from a developer, but rather than that percentage of equalized assessed value, it's literally a payment instead of providing the affordable housing unit. And in most cases, it's better to just have the developer build the affordable housing unit, because if the town takes the money, the town has to figure out how to spend the money. But in this case, because the township is bonding to buy this land and may in fact also need to make a further contribution to support the affordable development, the ordinance, the TDR ordinance that was just adopted also includes a provision that the small developments in the receiving area that will produce 2 or fewer, so 1 or 2 affordable housing units, may make a payment instead of producing those units. It is very hard to produce that small number of affordable housing units. It's like really cost prohibitive to build it as a single family home or even as a triplex unit. And we had Otto Associates, the township's consultant, real estate valuation consultant, assist us in figuring out what is the right amount of money for a developer to have to pay in lieu of providing that affordable housing unit. So the number for a single family house is $180,000. So for these small developers, small developments that would only produce 1 or 2, they're being offered the option to make this payment. So this payment would come into the trust fund, and then it can be used to pay for, to reimburse the town or pay off the bond. So again, it's all interconnected, and I just wanted to make that point. So this spending plan estimates how much revenue is going to come in over the next 10 years. And then it outlines how that money will be spent. And all of the expenditures are consistent with the fair share plan. There is a requirement in the statute that some of the money be committed to affordability assistance, which is different than supporting new units. It's people, households that are already in an affordable unit, providing them with assistance. So that could be assistance with homeowners association dues, for example. That tends to be troublesome for low, moderate income households. They've got a mortgage that they can afford, yet they've got an HOA payment that is kind of like disproportionate to the mortgage that they're paying. So this enables them to, as an opportunity to apply for funding to assist on a short-term basis, for example, with HOA dues. That's like one example of affordability assistance. Another one is down payment assistance for an affordable unit. And there's quite a few options to how to do that affordability assistance. But I just wanted to confirm that that is one of the ways that the money will be spent. Some of the funds may be spent on administrative expenses as well. The town has to pay your administrative assistant, your affordable housing administrative agent. They have to pay me to prepare these affordable housing plans and, all these documents. So some of a proportion of the funds are allowed to be used in support of the administration of the units. And then that's kind of it in summary, but we have an expenditure schedule on page 8, and it outlines kind of like we timed the expenditures with the anticipated revenue. And again, it may vary over the years, but this is a start. And each expenditure has to be approved by resolution anyway. So even though you're approving this overall plan, each time money is spent, it'll come to you as a resolution. You're welcome.
From the, can
No, I don't have any.
I get a motion in a second to approve resolution 2026-03-01?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, jumping down to resolution 2026-0308, resolution authorizing the execution of settlement agreement with Timber Ridge Management LLC and LB3. Any comments or questions from the committee? Can I get a motion in a second? Second.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Is that all of them?
Yes.
Said it all.
Bring it back.
Okay, please get Jeremy back.
Joe, can you stick your head out and see if Jeremy's out there? Oh, no, I have
Mike went
another
there.
Joe. I'm sorry.
Oh.
You got him, Mike?
Found them.
Never mind, Joe.
Found
We
him.
found him. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to ordinances for introduction. Ordinance 2026-07, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limits and to establish a cap bank. I got a motion and a second to introduce the ordinance.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. You can be hearing these all on the same page.
Sorry, public hearing. This one can be the next meeting. Where's that? 26th, April 26th, March 26th.
Public hearing for ordinance 2026-07. Ordinance 2026-08, an ordinance providing for the acquisition of public works equipment in and for the township, appropriating $130,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $123,500 in general implement bonds or notes of the township to finance the same. This is for Public Works to purchase a flail mower. We had in-depth discussion as part of our budget discussions and the capital budget. Their flail mower lasted, I think it was almost 20 years or just above 20 years. It had a good life. We need a new one in order to be able to take care of our land. Can I get a motion in a second to introduce the ordinance?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Okay. That is all.
Same
for
time. March 26th for that as well.
March 26th. All right, moving back to resolutions. Resolution 2026-02-11, resolution authorizing the Township of Chesterfield to enter into a developer's agreement with Bentley Farm Development LLC concerning real property identified as Block 206, Lot 17.02 Dominic, can you please give us a quick summary?
Sure, Mayor. This is a property or development that was previously approved by the planning board of the township. It was a 26 lot subdivision approval that had I believe three stormwater lots and then about 23 single family lots. We typically, as part of the approvals, conditions of approval at the planning board level, would require a developer's agreement. Typical for Chesterfield, typical for many municipalities in the state of New Jersey, to have these type of agreements with the developer to make sure that the developer is doing what they're doing and doing it correctly when they're putting the improvements in on the property. I always have Joe Hirsch, our engineer, reviewing these with me as we put them together to make sure I capture everything from an engineering perspective and a construction perspective. It does outline what they have to do in terms of all their construction on the site. Most importantly, though, for the committee and for the public, is that tying it into our affordable housing discussion, though, that this does have a clause in there. This is one of those developments that would only yield 2 affordable units, so it would qualify for the payment in lieu. And we did have those discussions with the developer, and they have agreed to make the payment in lieu as part of the developer's agreement. So instead of building the 2 affordable units, they're going to be making a payment to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund of $360,000. And as we've noted, that will help assist the township in paying off the bond that was just approved to purchase 87 Bordentown Chesterfield Road. And then the rest of the developers agreement is pretty standard. Again, it's the typical language you use. There's recreation and sewer contributions that have to be made, and those are all spelled out depending on the number of lots. It's all spelled out about the contributions the developer has to make. Again, Joe did review it and gave it his blessing as well. So we're just asking that the committee approve it, since it has to authorize the execution of the agreement.
Any comments or questions from the committee? I get a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-02-11.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2026-03-02, resolution authorizing appropriation reserve transfers. Any questions or comments from the committee? Can I get a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2026-03-03, resolution authorizing emergency temporary appropriation. This is provided for in the 2026 budget. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the resolution?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-03-04, resolution authorizing an application to the local finance board pursuant to NJSA 40A:45.3EE. I know that we do this every year. It's for the board to review and approve our proposed cap waiver. I know our CFO is here. Wendy, is there anything you'd like to
I
add?
just want to make sure that because there has been a number of changes with the budget, that the amount that we are requesting this year is $572,500.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee?
None.
Can I get a motion and a second on the resolution?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2026-03-05, resolution authorizing the introduction of the 2026 municipal budget. I know that we have some discussion to do with the committee. I want to share a little bit of my perspective to kick off the discussion. I'm excited to talk about this budget. I take our budget very personally. It's not only our tax-paying dollars, but when we're elected to represent all of our residents, to be good stewards of their money. We've heard loud and clear over the last couple of years, especially this year, that our residents can't handle another tax increase, that everyone is just under such a financial burden with increased insurance, utility bills. I mean, everything is just going up, and we have been asked to do our best to put forth a responsible, fiscally sound budget that does not increase taxes. I am sitting up here. I'm proud. I think that we did that. I think we worked really hard on it. We did things a little differently. I know we had each department head come in. I know that we asked questions. We asked them to do more with a little less, which I know is not an easy thing in today's world, but I think it's important to be able to do so. We had our amazing resident-led financial advisory committee met and gave us some great recommendations, which we were able to listen to. I think we had some good discussion as a committee. I spent a lot of time with our CFO behind the scenes. The budget was initially proposed at over $7 million. We were able to cut almost $400,000 of spending out of that. We were given some options about how to move forward. I know I don't want to get too in the weeds, but the way that we budget, and Wendy, feel free to correct me, we're relying on a surplus. It's kind of a misleading word because it's not technically a surplus. It's where all of our revenues go into, but we are relying on that as we budget every year, which makes it very, very difficult for us to budget because we're not just budgeting the taxpayer property taxes that come into us. So with that, we were given, you know, some numbers where we would be using almost 70% of our surplus. I think everybody here on the committee had big concerns about that. I know a lot of folks met with Wendy. We were able to cut some additional things from the budget to reduce that, so that we were able to reduce the surplus that we're using down by 10%. So the number that I would like to move forward with would only be using 59% of surplus. It's a 0.0% increase on our taxpayers with this budget. It's a responsible budget. It increases our services. I don't know if anybody else has anything they'd like to say.
Well, I'm in agreement with it. I think as Rebecca said, I think we've heard the taxpayers. I am nervous about it. I have to admit, we've gone up from 51% last year of surplus to now almost 60%, and I'm nervous of that. However, I think that we are addressing what the taxpayers have told us they wanted. We're making a lot of cuts. I think they're good cuts. I think that we have given a lot of thought to this. So Richie and I sat down with Wendy for quite a while the other day and looked at these. So I will say though that you sound very excited. I am not excited. This was the hardest budget, and I've been on this township committee for a long time. This is the hardest budget that I have to vote for, quite honestly, because I feel like we are taking some risks. However, I do feel strongly that we are doing what the taxpayers have asked us to do, what the residents have asked us to do, and that's why I am voting. I will be voting for it because I think that this is what we've been asked to do.
After talking to all the department heads and Wendy, after the cuts were made, after the last round of cuts were made, everybody felt confident. I feel confident in the budget. 59% sounds like a lot, but it's less surplus than that was spent last year.
No, it's more. We spent 51%.
It's less
Less dollars.
dollar-wise.
Over $300,000
It's
less.
less.
Okay.
And was spent.
1,741,000.
Yeah.
This year we're using just under $1,400,000.
Yeah, but we're just.
And it's
So
usually-
the percent is just higher because we're
Percentage
running
is
low.
higher because we're running
Yeah,
low on
I
service.
know, but yes, we are. So that's making me nervous. However, I think this is the right, I wouldn't vote for it if I didn't think it was the right thing to do.
And I appreciate, everybody up here, I know everybody works hard on the budget. It was a hard budget. It's a hard thing to do. But I'm proud of the result, and I appreciate everybody's time and effort and working together. And Wendy, I know we all spent hours with you, so I know you have spent just so much time on this, and appreciate your professionalism.
I just want to quickly add, and I shared, the same sentiments as Denise. I was a little nervous about pulling too much from the surplus because, it's important to have a healthy surplus and to plan responsibly for the future. But at the same time, I totally understand then, we all know that it is like our residents, they are seeing rising costs in all areas, and we really have to give them some relief. And I'm glad that we're able to come, collaboratively work together to come to a decision where we're able to keep the municipal tax rate flat this year. So I want to thank Wendy for answering all the questions and all the discussions we had back and forth, to all the fellow committee members for, working equally hard. Also to the Finance Advisory Committee, because their feedback and input is always valuable and much needed. Thank you.
Any other
Great.
questions or comments from the committee?
It's just a wake up call. See the surplus now. It's increased from last year. Saying it for years, this referendum won't come without increased revenue. The only revenue we have right now is basically residential based, not commercial based. We're running out of surplus, which is historically kept tax rate lower.
Absolutely.
So it's a false rate because you spend your surplus.
I don't think we have a choice though.
Oh, no.
No, but you've had assistance. I mean, my whole time, here for at least 25 years, you've had assistance with your tax rate with using surplus. That is something that has benefited this community. It's very,
It's kept it artificially
Yeah,
low.
and
yes, it has.
At one point when you first came, it was around 4 cents,
Yeah, I think it was 5.
5 cents.
Yeah.
And that's just,
And it was 5 cents, I believe, for the 6 years before I got here.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it goes further because now you're going 30
artificially
years ago.
kept low by burning surplus.
the only way it's going to stay this way is to move forward with the pending development, the rateable.
Commercial.
Wendy, is there anything else you want to add on this?
No, but if I'm hearing that you're all very much in agreement with a 0% tax rate, then I have the final resolution. Which is a little different than the varying versions. That will be that says 1390 at the top. That is the final. That's
That
what they
is
would
the
be
final.
adopting tonight.
Which is what, is
Which
this
the
top
first,
one
yep,
here?
first line on the rate chart.
Okay,
And it just breaks the numbers down that are in the budget with everything I've shown you before.
okay.
We'll have a public hearing. It's April 23rd. Am I getting that date right?
Yes.
There'll be a public presentation,
April,
public
no,
hearing.
20
Public is
24th.
more than welcome to get involved. Would love input. But that's
Hold
the
on.
date for that.
Hold on. Oh, 23rd, I have the wrong date.
All right. With that, can I get a motion and a second on the resolution?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2026-03-06, resolution authorizing execution of a developer's agreement with 118 NP. Dominic, looking at you again.
Similar to the Bentley Farms one, this is just another developer's agreement, a little bit of a smaller subdivision that was approved by the planning board. This is a 12 lot subdivision over in the PVD 1 zone. Again, because it qualifies as well for the payment in lieu, the developer did agree to make the payment. It would only been one unit if he had to build one based on the 12 total units that were approved. So there will be another $180,000 contribution coming in, which just in tonight would be $540,000 from the two developers agreements that are approved. Will go into the subsequently go into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Again, the rest of the developers agreements, the typical developers agreement, and Joe Hirsch, our engineer, did review and give it his blessing as well.
Dominic, any questions or comments from the committee? Can I get a motion and a second on the resolution?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2026-03-07, resolution authorizing submission of an application for FY27 community project funding for ADA compliant playground, pavilion, and picnic area. I will share some background on this because it was again a very escalated time frame, and we're not able to get as much feedback as we would have in an ideal scenario. A couple weeks ago, I saw a press release from Congressman Conaway's office, which had a list of Burlington County surrounding towns that received a lot of funding for various community projects, lighting projects, recreational improvements, a whole bunch of different things. And we were not on the list. And I said, why is Chesterfield not on this list? And I reached out to his staff to set up a meeting to talk about getting on the list for the future. And just time-wise, coincidentally, it worked out that they followed up a couple weeks later and said, hey, the project funding is opening for next year. It's due by next Friday. This was last week. It's due by next Friday, which is tomorrow. So I called Joe in a panic and said, can we meet tomorrow? Joe was in Disney on his vacation and made some time to meet with us. Because it was such an escalated time frame, we went with a project that I know we've been talking about for a while, that we've heard feedback from the CTIA and from residents on doing a playground over in Charlotte Rogers that is ADA compliant. Given that we had almost no time to plan or prep or get additional community feedback, we decided to just move forward with that. I was working on the grant application earlier today. Joe put together a wonderful plan, cost estimate. It's very competitive, but we got to be in it to win it. So I'm excited and hopeful and would ask for the committee's support on this resolution. With that, can I get a motion in a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One picture of Joe with his Mickey ears on.
George, I wear matching shirts.
All right, moving on to our bill list. Any questions or comments? Okay.
I was shocked. I guess not shocked, 21,000 for salt between the two purchases. It's like, wow, this winter really hit us hard. It
Painful.
was painful to see that.
It happened across the state of New Jersey with what happened with salt.
Oh,
I think it's
absolutely.
going to change the,
No.
but it,
Troy had given us a report a couple weeks ago at our meeting about, and he did tell us that, he had to, it was
and
just,
two historic storms within a very short
Yes.
period of time also added to it. You don't often get two with that much.
no, I mean, I was expecting it to be high, but when you actually see the number, it's like, wow.
Can I get a motion in a second to approve the bill list?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to our reports and discussion. Joe, you're up first with our engineer report, please.
Have a couple of dates. Two pre-construction meetings on Tuesday. The first one was from Markham Road, with Paving Plus. They are scheduled, being well, they're scheduled to start construction on March 23rd. Here for about 2 weeks, prepping the roadway, widening the roadway, and then they will come back 2 weeks after they're done that. Mid-April or so, they estimate, I think it was 4 weeks total. So, too much of an inconvenience. There will be a detour around it when they're otherwise they're ready to go. We also had a pre-con for Hogback Road, the first phase of Hogback Road. We had discussions about the traffic for that road too, and we ultimately decided to hold off until June, till school ends, to pave that road so that we can do it without impacting.
Joe, is that hogback from High Bridge to Ward? And both sides are ours on that? Yes. So
The
typically,
west edge.
so that they use it for their buses and everything else, and we pay to fix it. Okay, just want to make sure.
And how long do you think that project will take once you start it?
Remember how many days? For Hogback? I think he had one full day of milling and one full day of paving. Milling on High Bridge. Go to Grove already. We didn't have funding to go all the way up. That's phase 2. Next phase goes from High Bridge to
Rookville.
There's like 3 foot
second section.
Yeah.
That's going to follow right after. So we already have a grant to do that. And that's the next item on the agenda is our proposal to do that. We already did our survey.
With phase 2, don't lose sight that there was a lot of drainage pipe that Troy had to fix when they ran the gas line.
Along that same edge.
Yes.
Yep, I remember. Gas line went through the pipe.
Yes. Yes. Just. Sorry.
So that construction won't start till June, but the phase 2, I already talked to Troy about a lot of drainage issues. We'll make sure we get them included.
And how long did you say Marjorime's going to take? 4 days?
4 total weeks of construction.
4
We
weeks.
anticipate 2 weeks, then the break until mid-April.
And are we sharing updates with everyone on the road that we've spoken to? Do they know and understand the timeline?
Residents?
Yeah.
We'll be
Yeah.
notified by the contractor a week ahead of time of any work.
Okay.
And I can also, once we get a little bit closer, they're going to start, I can confirm it with Karen if you want to put it on the website.
Definitely, yeah.
The
we wanna put it
website and the
everywhere.
and the Facebook page.
Construction starts.
Yeah.
like you did with the bridge closing on Old York. Yeah.
Next update is item number 9. That's the Parks Development Grant. That's the paving the asphalt pad. I did not hear anything back from Green Acre, so advertise it. Off we go. So
Do it.
Next week, I'll set that advertisement up. And just one other notification, basically, is we were waiting on the emergency repair we did on Chester Georgetown Road. We're waiting for the guide rail scheduled for that, and that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's taken a while.
It has. Well, there's been snow and ice.
Yeah, that's true.
Conditions weren't conducive. They actually were scheduled for today. I guess they looked at the weather and called me like 15 minutes later and said, no better choice. I'll get anything wrapped up.
Do you need anything from us on the Hogback Road Phase 2?
Yes.
The approval of the proposal, which is the next item on the agenda. And I wanted to say the distance for Phase 2 is a little bit more than Phase 1, and we did get a great bid for Phase 1, but nonetheless, the grant for Phase 2 is almost $100,000 more than the grant was for Phase 1. So there's a percentage of the engineering that's reimbursable for design and for inspection that we can.
Oh, that's good.
The proposal is inclusive of all the work that we think we'll need to do. It's $32,800, but a lot of that can likely get reimbursed, assuming we get even decent pricing. We should be well under the grant.
What's the oil index in the contract?
I just looked. Well, it'll be bid versus construction. So we don't know what the index is yet, but to date, the index has not risen yet, but
Huh.
in, let's just say April or May, it'll be built in, a little bit of increase.
Talking about the one that's.
Same thing. I did check that. I did for Phase 1.
Yeah.
And now, the current mark, so there's 2. They do twice a month now, right? So the second one is the same rate, except within $5. $5 of the index when we bid it. So I'm not expecting a big increase in the fuel or asphalt price. So to explain, the DOT mandates that we have to do a fuel and asphalt price adjustment that's based on the state that rate. So if it changes from the time it's bid to construction, up or down, contract already has provisions in it to adjust the contract to compensate for the standard state rate.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, so it's built into every contract. There's an allowance in there. And if it goes down, you get a credit. And if it goes up, you end up having to pay. But what I've seen, if they were paving today, we would have no change from when we bid.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, since we're talking about engineering, that we did get a notice from the county, what was it, a few days ago, that they're going to be repairing a small bridge on Old York Road and be putting in a detour along there between Borden Lane and Recklesstown on Old York Road. Borden Lane.
Borden and Recklesstown.
Yeah, Borden Lane and Recklesstown Road on Old York Road. But that's where the bridge is between those two.
Detours back here.
Yeah, so,
There's a diagram on Facebook.
yeah,
if
so
anyone
it's
wants
out there, but
see
I
it
just
visually.
wanted to mention it, so people, if any of the public, few public that's here, or, I appreciated the fact that our staff got that out right away, because I know I forwarded it, and a lot of people are like kind of dismayed, but safety has to come first. But anyway, I just wanted to mention it.
All right, so can we get a motion and a second to approve the engineering proposal for Hogback Road Phase 2?
So second,
All in favor?
aye.
Ruchi, are you the memo from EC?
Yeah, so EC, the Environment Commission has requested the township to send the Collier's Pond Dam memo to the DEP, just to notify them, about the great blue heron rookery that is there in that area, because they're worried that, so that the dam is not taken down during the nesting season, and the great blue heron being a protected species, so they should know about it. They had requested, I think, the same, I guess, a few months ago. So they wanted us to kind of forward that memo to the DEP.
Do we have to vote on that, Dominic, or how does that work?
I mean, is it literally forwarding their memo. It's not like you're creating your own
No, they
memo.
sent it and it's in our packet
It's-
or.
I would still, if it's coming from like the municipal building out, then I would do a motion to authorize them sending that memo out on their behalf. That's fine. I wouldn't get into creating our own.
No,
memo.
no, they wrote one, that they sent to us.
I recall seeing it.
It sounded like from the letter that they verified it, yeah, so,
Karen Rookery.
yeah, so. I'll make a motion that we authorize the EC or allow the EC to forward the memo that they've already written to the New Jersey DEP.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Reports of administration, I don't have anything for tonight. Anybody from the township committee?
I have one thing. I would like to come up with a date. Now that we have completed the budget, it looks like, now that we're fairly close to completing affordable housing, I want to get a workshop on for the HPC so we can complete that.
Yes.
So, well, first, I think let's do April if possible. I might have a conflict at the end of the month. Can we say the first April meeting or the second April meeting? I'm indifferent, whatever, it's better.
The ones, they're already set up for the fourth Thursday of the
Okay.
month.
Can we,
But would that give you enough time to advertise it, that we could do it on the first meeting of April?
We should do the 9th.
Yeah, if, I
I'd
mean, we
rather
can
do it-
advertise, not a big deal.
like the ninth, I could have a
Okay.
conflict on the 26th.
Yeah. Put it on the website.
All right, April 9th, 6 o'clock or 5:30?
Why don't we make it 5:30 to allow, because I think there's going to be a lot of discussion.
5:30 good?
We advertise that one.
Make it work.
Karen, can we make sure we advertise what it's for so that we?
Specifically for the HPC ordinance,
The ordinance.
right? I mean,
What
I
it is.
don't know what else.
We understand that we had to do the budget first, and we had to understand affordable housing was the priority, so.
And that'll be the 9th at 5:30.
And Dominic, I'll send you again the two ordinances and
You're right. Let's get this done, right?
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
it's time.
It's overtime.
So something I wanted to discuss with the committee. I had a word with Karen also the other day. As we all know, that March is Women's History Month, and that's also a time when we recognize and we celebrate all the different contributions that women have made to our communities, to our nation. So here in Chesterfield, I know we have some phenomenal women who are who do amazing work as volunteers, as farmers, as educators, as business owners, community leaders. So I think it'll be a good idea to and again, that's something I was discussing with Karen the other day, and I said let's also probably what we can do is nominate maybe 5 women, 5 such women, and we can invite them to the committee meeting next week. Next time we have the meeting, and just to honor them and to thank them for all that they do and their dedicated work to the community. So Karen suggested that instead of us just kind of asking the residents to do it, it'll be probably easier if each one of us, the committee members, if we all nominate one woman who's made a meaningful impact, to the community, and then we can invite them here and thank them and honor them. So I just wanted to run this idea by my fellow committee members to see what you guys think about it. And if
But I think it might be nice to get public nominations instead of what we think. I think it might be nice to solicit from the public if there's a way that we could do it.
it'll just be I guess sometimes we may get the same nomination from a lot of people. So again, we can discuss this as a group and just see how do you want to do it. But I think it's a good way for us to honor these women. I mean, I can think of at least 3 or 4 already.
I love the idea. I think it'd be quote unquote a knee jerk reaction for me to just come up top of my head now. I'd like to put a little thought into this. I always get worried we acknowledge some and leave some out, and yeah.
I know.
Choose 5.
And I don't want to alienate anybody or discourage anybody, I guess is my point. I think it's a great idea. I just need a minute to put them together.
So you're saying like we would come up with somebody and then email it, the name or a couple of names to Karen? And- I mean, how would we
Just
do
each
that?
one of us nominate one woman and then ask those 5 women to come to the committee, meeting next time.
I think the advantage of doing that way is that we are doing it during Women's History Month, which I think is, and then maybe we could say that for next year, we'll do it earlier and we'll have it be, you know, uh, nominations and input from the public.
Or you
Fine.
could do one general, you could do one general proclamation too,
Yeah.
instead of that, because there's not a whole lot of time to.
Personally, I always get worried acknowledging when there's so many people doing so many impactful things, to pick just 5, I think alienates a bunch of others. I can think of 5 people right now off the top of my head, and I'm sure everybody knows different people that deserve it. I would rather do a proclamation at this moment acknowledging all contributors and then have more time next year.
Next year, yeah, we could possibly plan a little earlier and do something to recognize specific.
So next month we'll
Just
we'll
like
do a
general
proclamation
Yes.
recognizing.
Invite all, I mean, hey, women make the world go round.
I mean,
Invite them all. Let's honor them
I have
all.
2 phenomenal women sitting here, community
Same,
leaders. So, I mean,
Around the room, there's so many.
then our amazing staff, Rachel, Karen, Wendy.
So yeah, let's do a general
Yeah.
proclamation and then next year maybe we can plan something out a
Okay.
little more
Yeah,
detailed.
I like the idea of a proclamation.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Of course.
And I think it's a great
Nice
idea.
to be able
Thank
to
you.
do something on a township level.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else from the committee? All right, moving on to you, George.
A couple of things just to fill you in on. Our shared services agreements for the street sweeper. New Hanover has agreed to the terms of the agreement that I distributed to everyone for review. They actually approved it 2 nights ago. So I'll be bringing that to you on the 26th. And the budget for that for New Hanover is approximately $7,800 a year. North Hanover, looks like they're going to adopt as well the first week of April. I'll be bringing their version to you on the 26th. That's another 11,700. So we'll bring in about 19,000 to 20,000 a year. We have inquiries from other towns. I think we should wait before we add anyone else and just see how our staff accommodates handling those other towns as well as ourselves, especially with the implementation of the Old York contract placement. I don't want to see us overload and not be able to accommodate.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, slow but steady.
I did some real quick math here, and I realize that they're paying for our staff's time, the fuel, wear and tear on the trucks. But if you take some real quick math, we paid approximately $500,000 for the vehicle. If you take a yearly portion of that for 15 years, which is probably the approximate life cycle, comes out to 33 grand. So we've offset, just with those simple numbers, about 59 to 60% of the cost of the vehicle. So I think it was what you wanted when we agreed upon it. I think we'll fulfill that.
And you think that in future there may be 1 or 2 more other towns, if we're able
There are
to do
other
it,
towns out there that want it.
that want it?
These 2 towns are, I think, size-wise and by location, the best bets for us.
Yes.
Some of them are pretty good haul away.
Yeah, and we don't want to overload our staff. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you, George.
I think you're going to say something.
Nope,
I know what he's thinking, but he's not gonna say it.
not saying a word.
Okay, I'm trying to see.
I, not saying a word.
I know.
I was wrong.
What's next, George?
At a few of our meetings, Ms. Mahon had brought to our attention the fact that we don't have the annual reports from some of our committees and boards that are required by ordinance. I reached out to the planning board, the Environmental Commission Secretary Aggie. She did have on file their annual report that goes to Tree City USA. She provided two of those for me to put on our website. They were put on today. So if you go to the Environmental Commission, you'll see those. For the HPC, Haley informed me that she's had conversations with the members. She's going to compile a report for last year. I assume she'll go back into the minutes and just extract some of the highlights, and that will go on as well. So we will soon have both of those two boards represented with their annual accomplishments. And the last thing I wanted to report back is our health insurance venture, bringing on the difference card. We had a presentation on Tuesday. We had 9 employees in the room. And that may not sound like many, but our total insured coverage right now is 16 employees. So not 16. We do have another meeting scheduled for the 31st to give those that couldn't make Tuesday an opportunity. Good presentation. Some folks in the room were there. I think most questions were answered. And I think the response from our employees for the most part is positive to the advantages and potential savings. And the savings are really significant. The Chapter 78 contributions required of our employees are going to be cut by about 40%. That's a big cut. So we are going to continue. While I was away, Karen sent in all the documentation to the state. And yesterday Tuesday, we got an email saying we've been accepted and approved for the program. So that would take effect June 1st. So that's moving along nicely. And that's all I have.
Thanks.
All right, moving into public comment part 2, same rules as before, 3 minutes, state your name and address to start. Please, can I get a motion and a second to open public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Hi, Susie Mayon, 16 Chesterfield, Crosswicks Road. Just want to mention that, I tool around the website every now and then, as you know.
You do?
Yeah, I know. Surprise, right? And I just wanted to say that the public records portion now looks pretty good. And I accessed the stuff, so it looks really nice. That worked out. I mean, I caught some little things before. It must have been a trial period, but I think it's worked out. So, secondly, I did send some email. Every year, the New Jersey Trust puts a thing out where you do the 10 most endangered historic sites within New Jersey. And if we had the report done and people knew what was going on with the historic stuff, perhaps we might have had a candidate, maybe we wouldn't, but we would know if we did or we didn't. Right now, we're kind of in limbo because we don't have that information at our fingertips. So,
I believe the Bullock Mansion was on that list.
no, it's not. No.
It's not on it now.
No, it never was. The only thing from Chesterfield was the mincemeat factory. And
Okay, maybe it's the mince. I know there was
The-
something here that was on
yeah,
that.
that was the mincemeat factory. Yeah, that's gone. So anyway, and that's about it for now. And I'm looking forward to the workshop session. So I'll be in attendance if I can make it. Thank you.
And if you share the word about the session.
Okay, I will do that. Yeah. But maybe we should post it on the website.
Definitely will.
Okay.
Anybody else in the room who would like to speak? Anybody online? Can I get a motion and a second to close public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do have an executive session tonight, but I don't believe we're going to be taking action after.
No action.
Can I get a motion and a second to move into executive session.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Won't be long. It won't be long.